Hello, and welcome back to another episode of 10 for 10. I'm Brig.
I'm Sky.
And, well, here, let me adjust the camera real fast so you'll be in the picture, actually. So you,
This is like a big this camera gets a lot of things, so I don't think you should worry.
Okay, so in this episode, I read a webcomic done in the style of a manga. In fact, it's pretty much a manga, except it's not on paperback.
Actually, I think you can buy it already.
So it's a manga
It's a manga.
called Gray Is, and Sky was reading.
Double Arts.
Now, Double Arts is an interesting manga, as in it was suddenly cancelled.
Yeah. So
Like 22 chapters in, and then was cancelled.
I think it was I think it closely reached the 30 mark, but not very far.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was still cut short.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about that for a bit. So, what do you want? Do you want to go first or should I? Okay then. Rock, paper, scissors, go. Rock, paper, scissors, go. Rock, paper, scissors, go. Rock, paper, scissors, go.
I got you. I win. I am
So
victorious.
you go first.
Okay. Double Arts is essentially a shonen manga and I believe a comedy. And this manga is very interesting. Essentially, the idea is that there's this disease that is going around, and that anyone who catches the disease will eventually start getting fevers. They'll start having a hard time breathing, but ultimately it will lead them to just dying. But not only dying, essentially their body will cease into thin air, and as they're dying, you can see through them. That's a sign that they're going to die soon. And if you touch them, you automatically get the disease. And there's currently no cure for it. There, however, is a treatment for it. And that where comes in one of our main characters, a girl who I forgot her name was, but she is part of like the sister group that they refer
A
to.
sisterhood, like a nun.
Yeah,
Like a group
she's
of
like a
nuns.
nun. She's like a nun. That if she touches you, then she absorbs some of the disease. You're still sick, and you're still gonna die, but essentially she's prolonging that death. She takes it in, and she can now her body. Any of the people who are a sister in the church group, they have a high immunity for the disease, but they still have it, so they are dying from it. And if you touch them, you will get the disease. But if they touch you, they're taking the disease from you. Just not all of it, because they can't. So our sister, what happens is that she starts becoming ill to the point that she's going to die. That's it. She's reached her limit. Because she has the disease, all the sisters will face the point that they're just going to eventually die. And that is essentially what happens. She's essentially dying and just hoping that no one will try to help her, because she doesn't want someone accidentally touching her and getting the disease. And then, lo and behold, comes our male character, our protagonist, who then touches her to help her, and she automatically feels better. She doesn't understand why, she's confused, but when she pushes him away, she starts feeling sick all over again. And she concludes that he must have a similar ability to her, that he grabs onto it, it cancels out the disease. Only in his case, it completely cancels it out, and he doesn't get any way affected by it. So she concludes that they could perhaps make a drug from him that could essentially either be used to prevent the disease or eliminate the disease from anyone who already has it. And that's essentially the idea. She goes, but lo and behold, you find a terrorist group who doesn't want that to happen. Now, keep in mind, this is me keeping within the 10 chapter range, so I'm not going to tell you why, because they didn't mention that in the 10 chapter range.
They never get to it.
There you go. They never even get to it. Why is it the terrorist organization is doing it? Can only females be the ones who take the disease? They didn't mention that either. Is our main character? No, wait, they did mention they have been people similar to the main character in the past, but they usually die. So that's not true. They did say that. Throughout the South, the art actually isn't bad. It's actually very pleasant. The background, the characters give a very young appearance, but it's actually within good reason. Our sister, it has a job that will essentially end her life right away. And the soonest you can get pretty much trained as your training as a sister ends, you immediately get sent out to work. They start young and they die young. So they...
Not exactly a pleasant job.
No, it's not a pleasant job at all.
Makes you wonder why anyone would take it.
Well,
they're too good for this sinful earth.
There you go.
That's your explanation. They're just that good of a person.
Well, maybe they would have explained it more if it wasn't for the fact that Manga got cut off. But they didn't.
The chapter you didn't see, one of the chapters you didn't see has a member of this organization that seemed to be responsible for the disease actually attack the nunnery. And actually kill most of them.
Oh, there you go.
Simply because they were treating people.
There you go. So, yes. But the actions, the action scene, like it sounds, like Brig was saying, the action isn't bad. It's actually nicely done. There are actually a few moments where it looked like this would have been a perfect scene to play out in an anime. So, honestly, and the characters itself, we meet also another character who uses, what's it called, like a hula hoop?
Hula hoop?
Yeah, you know, the things you go around your waist.
Yeah, hula hoop.
Okay, yeah, you meet this girl who meets a metal, uses a metal hula hoop, and she's actually really cool. She's very helpful, and it's just great that we also have characters that...
Don't forget, mention how the main character in the girl fight.
Oh, yes, and our main character, our sister, she, when it comes to our protagonist and her, they actually fight together while holding each other's hands, because of the moment they let go, you know, she gets sick again. So, but it's interesting is that she's not useless. She actually contributes. She actually fights.
He does things.
He does things. He doesn't see her as someone who's holding her back, but rather as someone who's aiding him.
And also the fact that they always have to stay within physical touch of each other leads to quite a few good jokes on their part.
Yes, so ultimately this is a really great manga. I mean, there were a few problems. The way they sometimes spoke to each other when they were introducing things, it seemed kind of forced. I think there would have been smoother ways of mentioning information like, oh, I'm part of this group. Oh, we need to go here. I think they could have done it in a smoother manner. There was also some issues of the way some stuff were put in a way that's kind of cliche. But ultimately, it wasn't a bad manga. It was actually really good. I actually think this could have made a great anime. But they decided to cancel the series really early, so many things won't be explained, will never be explained, and I'm pretty sure the way the author was writing this manga, that was not his intention. He was at least wanting this manga to go for at least 70 chapters. I think that would have been, if he wanted to cut it short, 70 chapters could have done it. But I mean, if let's say he was on a tight schedule, you probably could get it down to 40. But it would have to be, you know, well constructed, and
the point
it was just cut too short. I don't get why they did it, but they did it.
Exactly. You never had that chance it needed to shine.
So I think it's very sad because, like I said, the problems were really minor. I mean, a good editor could have easily, you know, just fixed those things. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I would still say the manga is worth reading. I will continue to read it because I want to know what's going to happen, even though it will be cut short, and I'm going to be saddened by that. But just within the 10 chapters, I would give it a score of, let's see, 3.5. Because of the fact is the dialogue is still a little rough. But not because the manga itself is bad. I think it's great. I just feel like it doesn't deserve a full 4.
Well, so for me, I read the manga or webcomic Ray Is. Now, in this story, it's about 2 young men, white and black. Okay? Black, who dresses in white, and white, who dresses in black. White even has black hair, and black even has white. I mean, it's so... yeah, whatever. Black is a bit of a fashion designer.
He is a fashion designer.
White? What the hell does White even do? I don't think he does anything. I think he's
at the current moment he's unemployed.
So the deal is this. They used to be great friends, but then when Black really needed him, White just disappeared.
For 2 years, I think it was.
Okay? And the story starts with White literally just reappearing in the guy's house.
It was his balcony, to be specific, right?
Doesn't matter. And Well, what can I say about this? First off, to those who may want to try reading this in the future, this is not a boys' love manga. This is not a boys' love manga. I said it a second time because despite it not being a boys' love manga, you're gonna think it is. You're gonna think it is, and apparently in future chapters, the author suddenly realized that he had drawn a boys' love manga despite not intending to, and threw in a female love interest.
I don't think the female love interest was by force. I thought it was actually done very nicely. But anyway, that's just me.
Right? No, I'm gonna say forced.
All right.
Because seriously, let me ask you, if it wasn't for the comments, do you think they would have introduced her?
I didn't pay that much attention to the comments early on. I paid attention to the comments when I caught up to the manga. That's when I usually tend to read the comments more often. Unless, of course, the page is like really good or funny, and I really want to know what people have to say about it.
But that said, once again, it's not a boys' love manga. But you're going to think it is. I guarantee you, you're going to think it is. They don't do anything like kissing or any of that stuff. But dear Lord, the sheer number of times they look deeply into each other's eyes.
I think they have cuddled though.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
I think
see
they
what
have
I mean?
cuddled.
For something that isn't a boys' love manga, they seem to be very much in love with each other.
Look deep into my eyes. Ouch.
Alright, so now that we got that out of the way,
Your beard feels it feels the same like it always does.
what does it usually feel like?
It feels like the hair is rough and then dry.
That's because it probably is. In case you don't notice, I don't shampoo my beard. Maybe
Maybe
fine.
you should use conditioner. And
When I take a shower tonight, fine. I'll wash and my hair, and I'll pour shampoo and conditioner all up on my face, and do that. And
so don't forget conditioner, and then leave-in conditioner, and then you gotta calm it in.
Leave-in conditioner, really? Do we have any leave-in conditioner?
Yes, we do.
Really?
Because I use about 2 or 3, and sometimes I have used up to 5.
You got problems.
I like my hair to be smooth to a certain extent. No, now it's kind of rough.
Well, I'm
Because
sorry.
I need to calm it.
I just wanted to feel what hair that had 5 leave-in conditioners.
No, it had 2. It had 2 last time.
Lies.
No, when we
lies.
have more leave-in conditioner, I managed to put in more. But this time I think we only had 2. So I used like the vodka and this like one that's for curls. It's still good.
You know what? If
curls.
we keep going, I may have to put in a tag for the video on YouTube saying, "We talk about shampoo here." In fact, that's what I'm calling this episode. This is what I'm going to call it.
Well, you
Gray
should
is, double R's, shampoo talk.
All right.
So, back to Gray is. See that transition?
I thought it was a nice transition. Filled with shampoo.
We don't make this
bubbles.
stuff up, people. This is literally us talking.
That's the sound of bubbles popping.
I agree with you, and it was gorgeous.
I know.
But, okay, back in all seriousness. Gray is. Now, let's start with some critiques of the manga. First off, once again, it is the most loving of all the non-boys love mangas I've seen. In fact, no, I had to start.
Bromance.
This went a little beyond bromance.
All right, hetero life partner.
In fact, you know what? I'm thinking that, honestly, I think that sometimes, the author should have just made it a boys love manga and just have him go all the way. I mean,
I think she could have, because I think the author was a she, but I think honestly she could have easily pulled it off. It would have been.
So
not
you
too
agree
hard.
that it would have been easy?
It would have been easy, but that's like with every manga. Oh no.
No,
actually not at all, because you can. There's
Think
many
fairy tale.
characters.
Think of fairy tale. How would you believe it for a second if Natsu looked into Gray's eyes and said, I've always loved you?
I could imagine them doing it for a fanfic, like a doujin. I could imagine someone did it, but then I would hate it because they wouldn't capture their personalities. That's my issue. That's one of my issues with doujins when they pair up people. It's like, it's fine if you pair them up, but don't change their personalities so they can be together. And I've seen that, where they'll just change their personalities, and they say, like, no, that's totally how they are.
This is the problem with Gray is. The author could have made it a boys love manga very easily without changing anything. In fact, the female character is the change.
Once again, I still felt it was nicely done.
Even if it's nicely done.
Still go on. No, I do believe you that it could have been easily put that they would have been a couple. It would have been easy.
Okay, so, but back to this, and moving away from the boys' love. Let's start with, and go back with the problems. For instance, one of the problems is that Black has this drama thing. Parents.
Abuse. He was anorexic twice.
Anorexia is usually something that happens because of something else.
Yeah, but he was anorexic. He did suffer depression, suicide, physical and emotional
problem is
abuse, and he also hurts himself. And
but you see, the problem is this.
And he's very short-tempered.
We see the consequences, but we don't find out the causes until much, much later. We see some flashbacks here and there, but we never get a whole picture. So all we know is the guy's kind of is messed up on some big level, but we never really get why he's messed up until later. And even then, it's not very clear. Did he have daddy issues? Was it mommy issues? Was it mommy-daddy issues?
I can testify. I'm still finding out, and I've already fully caught up, and I'm
Why
still
did he go
learning.
anorexic? Why did he start cutting himself? Heck, you know one of the... and some of the problems that we do find out what it is... Look, here's one of his problems. He wanted to draw faces for a living. But he broke his fingers. So he became a high class...
Well, actually, no, he didn't break his fingers. I think his father broke his fingers.
Doesn't change the fact that one of his problems is that he's making clothes for people that people actually want to wear and making considerable amounts of money off that instead of drawing faces for a living.
I know that the author does cut down on that because I guess she just realizes it was a mistake because he is happy.
I mean, I wouldn't bring it up, except that's literally the reason we're given for one of the reasons why he's depressed.
I would be a little sad at the beginning, but I wouldn't keep it up because
another
he
thing,
looks happy.
Yeah, you see,
with his current job.
It made no sense. Like
and his assistant puts up with him a lot.
Heck, one chapter involves him getting ready to have his big breakout, the thing that's gonna make his name known. And then he starts getting all moody because he drew people with clothes that became reality rather than drawing faces. I'm not making this up. But...
It's true, he's not.
But that's not the point. Another thing is that he had this one friend, Amar. White never trusted Amar. Reason never given. At least not the 10 chapters I read. He's just like, I don't like that guy. No reason given.
Amar is the
friend who died.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I got a reason.
Like
either.
White just disliked Amar from the beginning, considering how White is the one that disappears. And then
White's
all we know is that Amar betrayed Black somehow. We have no. They didn't talk about. They didn't. I don't know what it was during my 10 chapters, but I don't know.
If I remember correctly, Amar tells White something that Black needed to know. That's all I remember. I have horrible memories.
How was that a betrayal?
Like I said, I barely remember. I know he did something and it hurt Black, and like Black gets over it later. And then he winds up directing his anger towards White, which was more appropriate.
Once again,
you're talking to someone who doesn't remember yesterday.
Right. So let's see. What else can I say? Do you even know why White disappeared in the first place?
You're given hints, but you really haven't found anything. Now we're starting to find out stuff. Because at first, we know why he started leaving. We know that. Because Black reached his biggest depression point of all time. It was worse. No one had ever seen him.
And White was getting sick of it.
And White was literally feeling drained. You know, you have one of those friends you're trying to help, but they're just not helping. Right? And essentially, he reached that moment. He saw like White isn't, Black isn't getting better. I'm getting drained. I'm becoming like him, and I have no idea how to help him. And he doesn't know how to tell Black. He just doesn't know what to do. And what happens is, Black can tell something's bothering him. It's pretty clear. And so Black, I still remember the scene. Black then like writes like very tiny words onto this piece of paper. And he then shoves it in White's face. And he's like, read the paper. And the guy tries to back off, try to put his head back so he can read it. And he shoves it back in his face, saying like, no, read the paper. And he's like, I can't read it, it's too close. No, read the paper, read it like this, read it how it is. He's like, no, I can't read it, I'm too close. See? And then he puts the paper down, he's like, see, exactly. You are currently looking too close at the situation. So you need to take a step back and evaluate it.
And by take a step back, he meant by disappear for 2 years.
He just meant, he had no idea this was the situation. He had no idea it was because of Black's emotional problem. He just thought that White was, feeling drained.
I know the ironic thing about all this?
That was actually good advice, but then he decided to take it a little
But no. You know what's the ironic thing about all that?
This was coming from the depressed guy?
No. The fact that Black gets better without him.
It's true, he does get better.
It's like,
does get better. Like he's not fully recovered, but he's done very well.
It's almost as if Black was the problem the whole time.
No, White, you mean.
White. It's almost as if White was the problem the whole time.
This is the Japanese style language for cum, so it doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's a shoe. It kind of looks like shoe, but, this is them there for cum.
So, push away is...
Cum, yeah, people,
so
I think they did it I think it was like a scooping motion.
Are all Japanese people to sundries, it's like... Go away.
I love you, sir. Oh, no, they wouldn't do it like that. They'd be like, it's not like I made this for you or anything.
Is that what you're saying?
Hand you like a lunchbox.
Whatever. This isn't a part. This is the deal. Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh yes. Another problem with the series is how early on in some of the early chapters, heck, the 10 chapters, and I'm saying this because even though it's like this throughout all 10 chapters, I'm told by Sky that it gets better.
It does.
But what happens is that they'll start a chapter, they'll keep going a bit, and then everything will be monologuing flashbacks.
That's true. There is a lot of monologuing. The author does tone it down later, but it never completely goes away.
I mean, just like for instance, once again, back to the fashion show, where I'm, okay, the fashion show, and now that we're monologuing about his drawings, and we're still monologuing, and we're still monologuing, and we're still I think something was happening. I mean, honestly, if this was a movie, if this whole thing was a movie...
No, if it was a movie, that'd be bad. Because then it would just be like chunks. I'm willing to admit it. If they had to make this into a series, they would have to cut down on the monologue. A lot of it would have to be removed because, honestly, I think it was put in... I mean, I love the manga, don't get me wrong, but I think many of it was put in there for poetic reasons. I don't think many of it actually contribute.
Like, here's something.
I don't want to
be
mean.
There was once this machinima that I watched. Every episode of that machinima, except for the first episode, started with a flashback.
Okay.
Of what happened in previous episodes. Not bad, except the flashbacks started taking up half the episode.
Oh, that's not good.
To the point where the last episode...
It's just a flashback?
No, they're like, no flashbacks.
What?
We make no promises. Guess what? Half of it was a flashback.
Alright.
Heck, it never got a second season.
I'm not surprised.
The problem that a lot of people said was too many flashbacks. Not enough jokes. And here, it's like...
what if they put jokes in the flashback?
No. I mean, and even then, it wouldn't be good because then we'd just be rewatching the same joke over and over again.
It was just a thought.
So here, in relation to that, it's like, yes, I get there's drama and stuff like that, but could you not draw me in flashback? I mean, there is stuff happening.
What do you mean drawing in monologue?
Monologuing flashbacks.
That's true.
There is stuff happening right there in the present. Okay? Anything you say in these monologues, you can demonstrate in the present and get things done.
That's true. Most of it, she could have done it that way. There are a few that I agree could have not been done that way, but most of it could have.
But despite all that, it is not a bad manga. Not by a long shot. The characters are actually interesting. You actually want to learn more. Or, I mean, granted, do I think the author is handling some of these things very well? No. But at the same time, I want to see where the author's going to take this next. Heck, the only reason I'm not going to keep reading this for now is because I'm already reading way too many webcomics. And quite frankly, to add another one to the list I'm reading, I mean, come on, if I were to read let me put it this way, if everything I'm reading now decided to have an update all on the same day, it would take me, I would spend the first 4 hours of the day just reading everything.
How many webcomics do you... You know what?
You
need a healthy dose of webcomics.
Not just webcomics, but I'm counting mangas and
For me, forget it. I would have so many,
mangas, news articles I'm reading.
And then I would be tempted to go back to an old manga just because I want to remember how was it like.
But, that's the thing. But, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's bad in the beginning. That said, the characters, you end up caring about them, and that's extremely important in a story. To have the audience care about the characters, and in that regard, it works. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 because despite the problems I have with the way the story is presented, I actually do care about the characters and I want to know more about them. And as for the characters themselves, they do handle the situation in a rather mature way. I don't have any, despite the only thing I have is, despite the fact that Black's a bit violent and way too short-tempered.
They do make that into a joke sometimes.
But, it's like, I see where he's coming from. Granted, if the only real thing I have against this manga would be how the source of the drama, how would you describe it? The way the drama aspect is being handled, which would be bad for a manga that is primarily a drama, but at the
It's not very clear. It's just like a mystery. One that you're constantly digging through.
Yeah, like that.
It's like that. Don't get me wrong, I read more than you, and I still love it, and I still don't understand everything that's wrong with him. I understand he had father abuse, brother abuse, his mother died, and...
Basically, worst childhood ever.
And then White was good to him, but, White ditches him eventually.
But it was only for his body.
No. And then Omar dies of cancer. No, wait, no, his mom... Black's mom dies of cancer. Omar dies in a car accident. That's right.
Basically, anyone you even remotely care about is going to die.
No, he still has a sister.
Does he even remotely care about her?
He does, actually. His sister comes to visit her, and he actually says, "Quick, hide!" And the White's like, "Whoa, what's going on?" "It's my sister." And she comes in, and she's like, "Oh, Black," and then shoves him in her boobies and pinches his cheeks. And she's like, "I'm so happy." And then her husband comes in, and he's like, "Oh, it's you! I love you too!" And you actually see the resemblance between them.
Yeah.
Like, they not only do they look alike, but they're very much alike. For example, one time, they're all sitting together. The husband, her, and by the way, she's pregnant too. Really pregnant.
Alright.
So they're all sitting together, and what happens is White and her husband are having a discussion, and they bring up a saying that involves an elephant. I think it was like the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room. And the thing is, everyone's tempered. She has a short temper too, so she is exploding at the moment, and so is her brother. Black's also exploding. And suddenly, one of them's like, all right, I think it was the husband, mentions the elephant in the room. And suddenly she looks at her husband with glaring in her eyes, and she's just like, there is no elephant here. I don't know what you're talking about. And then Black looks at her, and Black looks at him too, and he's like, yeah, look, if you're trying to make something, we're currently in an elephant zone. What are you talking about? And they start laughing at him like, what elephant? And they literally come down instantly after that. And as for White, he's just like face palm. It's like, you should have not used the elephant. Don't mention a quote. They won't get it. Because they're literal thinkers. So as a result, they were thinking, why are you bringing up an elephant when we are currently in a place where there is impossible to have an elephant? There's not even a fake elephant, like a decoration.
You silly man, you. But yeah.
It was a good scene.
I imagine so. Too bad it wasn't within those 10 chapters.
No, that comes way later.
So yes, it's probably one of those stories that you're going to have to stick around with till it gets better. Which it does get better. So maybe you'll find it worth sticking around. So yes, next episode, we'll be talking about 2 stories that we actually really, really found ourselves enjoying. I mean, seriously.
Both of us enjoyed it.
You know, I enjoyed it. For me, I had her read Vinland Saga.
And I had him read Dear But You Don't Know.
And like I said, look forward to that because we both really, really enjoyed it. So yes, thank you for watching. I'm Brig.
I'm Sky.
And if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. If you haven't already, subscribe. Thank
Bye.
you. Take care.